Panda. How's it going, everyone? Rational Panda here. Back in 2014, Bill Nye, the science guy, those of you that are old enough to remember the 90s will know who that is. Uh, Bill Nye and Ken Ham had a debate at the Creation Museum regarding basically creation versus evolution. Shortly after that, an excellent YouTuber named King Crocoduck uh, did a full commentary review on the entire debate. Did an excellent job. One of my favorite videos from him. I'll have a link to his channel in the description, as well as to the original debate. Um, and then it was a pretty standard debate structure. There's, allotted time for, opening statements and rebuttals and this sort of thing. And then afterwards, they had a uh, Q&A time where both of them answered questions from the audience that they submitted in writing. And during that Q&A section towards the end, Ken Ham said something that kind of struck me. And for whatever reason, perhaps it just wasn't in the scope of his interest, but King Crocoduck kind of glossed past it, really didn't say anything about it. And I wanted to throw in my 2 cents about it. And I mean, it was a quick comment, but it kind of, I don't know, it kind of sticks in my craw that he's not challenged on this. So I wanted to throw in my 2 cents on this, and it's just a 30-second clip. So, I mean, here's the clip, and then afterwards I'd like to give my thoughts on that. So here we go.
And also, there's a lot of misunderstanding in regard to Scripture, and in regard to the Israelites. I mean, we have laws in our civil government here in America that the government sets. Well, there were certain laws for Israel. And, some people take all that out of context, and then they try to impose it on us today as Christians and say, you should be obeying those laws. It's a misunderstanding of the Old Testament. It's a misunderstanding of the New Testament.
What? Yahtzee!
Okay, I have a problem with this. There's a lot wrong with what he just said, but first of all, the laws that he's talking about, you got to remember what he's kind of ignoring is that ancient Israel was, by all rights, a theocracy. Okay, their law was the Tanakh, or rather the Pentateuch. Especially Leviticus and Exodus, and some in Numbers, Deuteronomy. These are the books of the law. That was their law. They didn't have they didn't have the Pentateuch, and then you know and then laws outside of that. I mean, the Pharisees and Sadducees, the leaders of the synagogues and everything. I mean, that was basically the government, and yeah, they added on details and things like this, but it was all rooted in the Tanakh, and especially the Pentateuch, which we now, the Tanakh is what we know as the Old Testament. That was their laws. I'd like to point, and the thing is that, and then Christians love to do this. It's like, oh, well, that was the Old Testament. Jesus came and he changed all that with it, when he died on the cross, this, that, and the other. No. He reiterated the law, okay? The whole law. And for some reason, Christians like to read those first 10 commandments and then stop. No, they don't stop at 10. There's a total of 613 commandments. And if you're going to discard everything that came after, then, so what, are you saying that incest and bestiality are okay now? I mean, that, that's part of, that was, where do you think that prohibition came from? You can't just pick and choose. This ain't, this isn't Christianity a la carte. This isn't, cafeteria religion, man. If you're gonna follow it, follow the whole thing. And if you're gonna say, well, we follow what Jesus taught. Well, guess what? He reiterated the commandments. In fact, I'd like to point that out scripturally. This isn't just me, pulling this out, talking out the side of my neck. All right. It says in Matthew chapter 5, in verses 17 and 18 especially, it said, and this is, like I said, this is Jesus's words, allegedly, Jesus's words directly. Okay? He says, think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. And that has a that word fulfill has a specific connotation in the King James English back in the 1600s. That meant today it has a connotation of, okay, it's done and now we don't need to think about it anymore. No, that's not what it means. It means to uphold and keep, in this case, the law. It means that meaning it's still relevant and important after what after what he's done. After, he, even after his death, is what he was saying. He said, for verily I say unto you, and this is the proof. He said in the very next verse, he says in verse 18, he says, for verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law till all be fulfilled. That means, dun dun dun, it's still relevant today, and if you're going to be following what the Bible teaches, if that's your authority, then all of the 613 commandments are still relevant. The only thing that changed, according to the Bible teaching, is the animal sacrifice, because Jesus' death and resurrection, his sacrifice, I use that word pretty loosely at this point with regard to this, was supposed to have replaced all that, so that isn't necessary anymore. His was the end all be all sacrifice to replace all sacrifices. That's all that changed. And to state otherwise is to contradict what the Bible actually teaches. So, and why do I care about this? Well, in the bigger scheme of things, the grander, the bigger picture, the grander scheme of things, I really don't. But, if Christians are going to be consistent and true to what they say they believe, if you follow the Bible, follow it, the whole Bible. If you're going to take it on as a whole, take it as a whole. You can't just pick and choose, which has far-reaching implications that I'll get into in other videos. But that's basically it. That's my take on this. And thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting my channel. If you would be so kind as to give a like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already, and bang the bell. Share this on all of your social media if you would, please. That would help me a lot. I'd like to try and grow this channel, reach as many people as I can. Alrighty, so take care of yourselves, be good to each other. Matane. Oh, yeah! What?